All right.
And I'll get permission
Hi,
from
everybody.
the
This
prince.
is Chris with the Botch Pit. Lenny's over here forgetting that I control the prince in the game. Anyway, welcome to the Botch Pit. I'm here with Lenny, Brad,
Hi.
and Nick.
Hi.
And
Dad?
I feel like in celebration of American Horror Story premiering next week, that it'd be an interesting conversation to have as the different seasons of American Horror Story could be potentially inspired or inspiring different Chronicles of Darkness games, and where it'd be a fun idea to kind of tear from that. So, with the next closest person to knowledge of, World of Darkness and Chronicles of Darkness and American Horror Story, I'm going to have to start with Nick.
Hi.
Hi, Nick. Murder House. What could you do with Murder House in the Chronicles of Darkness as far as inspiration goes? What sort of core games would work well with it? What could you run with? That sort of thing.
Well, I'm also assuming everyone has probably seen Murder House and knows the kind of ending to it.
Spoiler alert for
yeah.
all of this.
You haven't?
And Brad
God.
hasn't seen any of it,
Brad.
but fucking Brad's never going to watch it anyway, so it
Brad,
doesn't matter. We're going to do
earmuffs.
this. Pardon my language.
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs.
If there aren't anime girls in it, Brad's like, nah, I'm good.
Anime girls?
We've gone full weeb, everyone. I repeat, we have gone full weeb.
Get the paddles ready.
Get the what?
I'm gonna go home. I think I'm gonna.
It got really weird
I'm
really
gonna find
fast.
a new ride to
Yeah.
the airport.
Notice me, senpai. Anyway, Nick, go ahead.
Well, I mean, in American Horror Story, especially I have to remember back to the first season, but
Speak up, Nick.
There's always a ton of ghosts. And that for literally the entire first season has to do with ghost stories. So in my opinion, what you would probably want to go with is Geist. At least, second edition Geist, where they talk about more spirits
Yep.
and stuff like that. That's probably the first one that I would kind of go with.
Okay, but let's not forget, yes, you are talking about it's 99.9% ghosts, and you're right,
Yep.
but at the end of the season, what else pops up?
Slasher?
The Antichrist.
Oh, yeah. That.
Oh, just the Antichrist. It's the entire basis of the new season.
Whatever.
Brad, you don't count.
What's my ex doing?
You haven't seen it.
Wait, have I ever?
Which ex, Lenny? Would you wish to call them out by name?
No, I'm good.
I didn't think so.
I prefer it by numbers.
And they're
They're
now
no longer people.
apparently they're now cattle. So that's something. All right.
Playing vampire.
So we've got, Geist as being an obvious inspiration, things like that. However, the underworld doesn't actually really come into play too much in a thing like Murder House.
No, I don't even think it really comes into any season too much.
I
mean,
can
the only
argue
thing-
that.
Well, are you talking about season 3, Coven? Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to go right for it.
Yeah, that's one that could. What's the name of that guy? I always forget who it is. The witch doctor guy.
Legba?
Legba.
Or Papa Legba?
Papa
Or-
Legba.
Based on Baron Samedi, I believe. He is what is considered a Loa, or a god of Vaudoon, or voodoo, if I remember correctly, a deity.
It is voodoo.
Well, Vaudoon is voodoo. It's just an offshoot. God, Lenny.
All right, have a good night, guys.
Lenny's already had enough food. She's like, you know what?
I'm sick, yo.
Would you
shit.
consider him a type of Reaper character? Could you kind of? No, he does bring people back and forth. Oh, he drags people down.
No, I thought voodoo doctors actually did have a place in the new Geist, where there were. humans who
there
could interact.
are, but he's not. He is a legitimate, voodoo deity. So, I don't know. But either way, I would say Geist is a very solid choice for inspiration as far as the core games of Chronicles of Darkness. All right. Asylum. Season 2.
Oh, definitely slasher. Definitely slasher. Definitely hunter.
What?
Definitely. Oh, definitely.
How?
Well, I mean, everyone in there is insane,
So
All
no,
right.
wait.
and they're
But-
all human. And also, I mean, you want to bring in Changeling, the Fae?
I mean, definitely, actually. Changeling is
Yeah.
that's a good call. I didn't think to go with that. But yeah, instead of it being legit aliens doing the abducting and whatnot, because that was corny as hell anyway, it makes
That was
a
the
lot
worst
more
thing
sense.
they've ever done.
I don't agree with that. There's some there's seasons of American Horror Story that aren't as good as others. But I think that's actually a really cool call, so credit on that. That's good. I don't know if... You see, I feel like you're predisposed to Slasher directly, but you got to remember, Slasher isn't a core game. You mean Hunter.
Yeah. Well, I said hunter and slasher.
But
I can go back in the recording, Chris. I can edit whatever
you
I
will
want.
accept your mistakes.
You know what's hilarious? He can go back and edit this shit, but you in turn will punish him in game, and it'll just be a never-ending circle of just shit slinging.
Story of my life, man.
It's true.
Still waiting for our blooper tracks.
They'll
They-
never
For
come.
what?
No, that'll never see the light of day. We have said way
It's
too many
the
things
problem's not
that
the
we do not want
bloopers.
on the internet.
It's the inappropriateness
It is the
of-
content that
What,
will.
what about you, Lenny? What do you think?
I don't read enough. I honestly don't read enough World of Darkness to.
Chronicles.
Okay, I don't read enough. Insert of darkness.
Chronicles of Darkness.
Game of Darkness.
But no, I mean,
Darkness
I,
Chronicles of.
of
I
Chronicles.
fucking hate you.
And now he's swearing at me. All right, fine. Be uncouth. Whatever. Carry on.
My name's Chris, and I know words. But no,
bigger the word, the bigger
I
the
honestly
win.
haven't read enough slasher, but I actually do like that concept for Asylum. I mean, Mage obviously lends itself to Coven.
Yeah. I have to agree, I guess. I mean, there's really nothing else aside from Changeling that.
Geist would be interesting for Murder House, but what about Roanoke too?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
That's a good
So
call.
For sure.
I think it lends itself pretty well.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more on that. Roanoke was actually a surprise treat for me because those first 6 episodes or so when I was watching, I have water dripping in the background and Nick is scampering to go turn that off. Joke's on him. It's a leaky faucet. But as long as it doesn't hit into the water, he's okay.
Yes.
Are we all right?
My audio senses were tingling.
Okay.
Whatever gets you there, Nick.
Whatever gets you there, buddy.
Gets you there.
Whatever flicks that little man in the boat for you. Roanoke was really fun for me because the first 6 episodes I was watching I thought were pretty weak and it wasn't scary. And then they did that whole...
None of the shows.
It's got its moments.
I'd say Asylum probably because it's the most realistic, in a sense. I mean, not to say there isn't like
You know...
life after death, but I mean at the same time, none of us. Well, I shouldn't say none of us. Brad, Nick, and I probably haven't witnessed like a lot of.
That's something for a whole other time, people listening. And I don't want to elaborate because you'll just think I'm crazy, but that's
I mean,
okay.
We haven't been
Another time.
privy to that sort of stuff, so we're probably not as attuned to it.
Okay.
But I definitely see Asylum being more, I should say scarier, just because it does happen in everyday life.
I'm going to flip that on you, and yes, I will agree with like the old experiments that they were doing in the 40s, 50s, 20s, 30s as far as mental health goes in the United States. The whole lobotomy situation that they were all, hard on about. I mean, yeah, that is pretty terrifying. But the thing I found, as far as American Horror Story goes, not to just fall into that thing, but I will say Roanoke was actually the only one that managed to freak me out. And it was because of the cleverness of the directing, because they made it all seem so cartoony and not very scary for the first 6 episodes. Like when they saw the ghost of the nobleman who hides in the tunnels underneath the house. Do you remember that? He was originally played by Evan Peters. And he, there was a nobleman that lived in the tunnels underneath that got killed originally when he got out. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but I just had another thought that's completely unrelated to what you're saying right now.
We'll get back to it then. Okay.
I know.
But just, what? Why are you wobbling?
It's too close.
It's too close to the microphone?
Yeah, you want to pull it off a little bit. There you go.
God,
Perfect.
Nick. Nick's our audio file, in case everybody at home couldn't tell. I don't want to say he's anal, but that's only because I don't want to use the word.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Not that. That's fine. Yeah.
Are we happy now?
Yes, we're happy.
Jesus Christ.
One's happy.
But the way they showed him being played by Evan Peters originally down in the tunnels, I was like, okay, that's not scary. But then in those last 7 episodes where it turns out that it does that whole meta plot thing, and the season is based on the recording of the show that was the first 6 episodes, and then they run back into the nobleman in the tunnels later. And, you're originally in your mind, you're comparing him to what Evan Peters looked like as that creature. But then, it just in the distance, the jaw lowers and it just starts scrambling after them and it looks actually haunting. I thought the way that they made it look not scary, and they used that to make it look much scarier when you finally saw it later, was very clever. So I don't know, but that's what got me. But yeah, I'd have to say Asylum. I guess you're right, Hunter. And Coven. I mean, we can't. There's really no way to be smooth about that. It's just mage all the way. Lenny, what are you thinking?
I was gonna say Geist for a hotel too.
Actually, let's go with that. So let's talk about hotel.
Vampire.
No, vampire. No,
Really?
not Geist. It's a zoo campaign, the same way our game was.
Yeah,
Because it had
yeah.
vampires, it had ghosts, it had vampires and ghosts. I think that's it. Supernaturals.
It had Kathy,
Immortals.
It had Kathy Bates bursting into a room shooting Lady Gaga.
To
Hotline
Hotline Bling, which is one of the
Still
greatest
one of the
moments.
greatest scenes in TV history ever.
So I was watching that with my wife when it was on TV, and my wife thought it was funny, but I started pissing my pants. And I have to say, about 3 minutes after that scene, when the commercial was on, I don't know if it was Lenny that called me or I called Lenny, but immediately we were just like, "Oh my god, did you see that? It was awesome!" Just that whole scene was pretty magnificent. Dennis O'Hare he captivates the screen when he's on it.
Especially with that one character too, because that's
Elizabeth
just,
Taylor?
Yeah, that's just so out of left field too.
Elizabeth Taylor might have been his best character, but he was really good in
He was pretty good in Silent.
Freak Show.
Yeah, Freak Show.
He was good in Freak Show. You really hated him in that season.
Yeah.
And that's why I liked him. I was like, God, his character is shit.
Yeah,
I hate him.
Any actor that you can just
Yeah.
instantaneously get me to hate you, I'm like, I love you, but I fucking hate you at the same time.
Two people that have excelled at that for me is Skylar in Breaking Bad, his wife. Because actually, she's, like, I've seen her in interviews and whatnot. She is awesome.
Yeah.
And she's actually, she's kind of pretty. But as Skylar, she is just a contemptible human being. It makes me, when I see her face, I automatically think of Skylar. I'm like, God, asshole. Her and... My brain just totally quit on me as to who the second person was.
I was gonna say,
Agent Stahl from Sons of Anarchy.
yes.
Hated her.
Yes.
Which made me love her. Like, I despised her. And man, talk about shows that give their characters their due. And sometimes they don't deserve it. But the bad guys always get their due in Sons of Anarchy. All right, so with Hotel, we have Vampire. Actually, we've got Mage, too. Queenie.
Yeah, that's right.
Because
you did.
Coven is blatantly Mage. We can't, it's still Zoo-ish.
I thought it was werewolf.
And
'cause-
we have the best character, the Axeman.
The Axeman is not the best character.
It has been.
He's up there.
Ever
But he's
since I watched
awesome.
Any of these seasons, holy shit!
What's that?
I know. I was just like, Axeman. I'm like, oh,
Axeman
that's
is
right.
stellar.
I love Axeman.
I'm not going to say he's my favorite, but top 10.
He's up there.
Top 10.
When we play Mage, can we just have Fleetwood Mac playing the entire time?
I will have to go and invest, and actually go into the Fleetwood Mac library because I haven't listened to too much. But yeah, we could probably make that happen.
I was joking, but all right, cool.
We could probably do that, well, unless we're recording the gameplay. Then we got to see what
Yeah,
we
that,
can
that
do
we're
about
probably
that.
gonna get flagged.
Yeah.
Stevie, don't hate us.
Stevie, please. Stevie, please. I thought you like witches. All right, so we covered. We didn't
Witches,
talk about.
not bitches, Chris.
We didn't talk about.
Hell was that?
Because 13 comments popped into my head of things that I could say, but I can't say. We didn't talk about Free Show. I'd say it's a mix.
That's it.
Go
It's
ahead.
got a good.
It's got a bit of Changeling,
I was gonna say some slasher too.
some slasher, but the one that we haven't talked about that it has a bit of is I feel like it's got a bit of Promethean to it. Because those freaks
Yeah.
could easily have been people
Yeah.
that were Prometheans that were just not put together well. It's a thought. So,
I'm just sad Michael Chiklis hasn't come back for like another season.
There's another season, too, that we haven't talked about. Isn't there? I feel like we're missing
So you
out.
got
We went over Murder House.
Murder House,
Asylum.
Asylum, Coven, Freak Show,
Hotel. And Roanoke.
Roanoke.
Yeah, we did get
Are we sure we got them all?
think so.
Fight me, Nick.
Everybody think of Sarah Paulson characters. Cult. We didn't talk about
Yes,
Cult.
that's it. That's it. I knew there was one.
Good catch.
I actually did not
Cult
watch that
is
one,
150% slasher or hunter. There is nothing else to it.
Yeah.
Or God Machine Chronicle. It could definitely be a God Machine type Chronicle.
God Machine is just straight Chronicles, right? Or is that
yes, but it's also what Demon is based off of.
Right.
And for an example, you could have the character Evan Peters, who's the head of that cult. What if the God Machine needed people in a certain position to follow along and do certain things that the God Machine needed done? And it was using Evan Peters to facilitate that process. So it could be a demon game. It could be a straight Chronicles of Darkness with the God Machine game. Anything that doesn't involve, believe it or not, really supernaturals. Other than demon, potentially.
Didn't watch that episode because...
You mean that season?
Yeah, sorry. That season, because I heard one person was in it, and I'm not going to say names, but I know you know exactly.
Lena Dunham sucks.
Yeah.
And she's only in it for an episode. But I will say that it's worth it for her role. She fits it perfectly. No, she does. She plays a...
Plays is a loose term. Can she even act?
She's a feminazi.
So she's
And she plays the woman in real life who shot and killed Andy Warhol. It fits. If you watched it, you would understand. You'd be like, yeah, that she fits the role perfectly. She's contemptible. I don't like Lena Dunham, but she did do well in that role, possibly because the character's contemptible. And for everybody who may think that I'm crapping on Lena Dunham because of her staunch views on society, if you will, Sarah Paulson is like my queen. So, no. This has nothing to do with any sort of political or... I just can't stand her personality.
Yeah, no.
Just to be clear, it's not a matter of any sort of sociological opinion or political opinion. No, I just don't like her personality, period. Just to be clear on that.
She's like that one person, like, you're like, one of your good friends comes up and like, oh, this is my friend, so-and-so, and you're like, you get 2 sentences in from talking to him, like,
dude, she's like a female Brad.
Hi.
Brad's just like, hey, I'm here.
Oh my god.
Same haircut and everything.
Oh my god. No. Oh yeah. Oh god. Brad, I'm so sorry.
What?
Sorry, Brad, not your fault. It's his fault.
What?
Brad has no idea what we're talking about. Dude.
I love how he's just
Lenny just said he hasn't even seen the season, and you're just buying into everything that he's saying about it.
Like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
So I just wanted to take a minute to have an excuse to talk about American Horror
It took
Story.
several minutes.
It was
a really long minute.
It was not. Nope. Low-hanging fruit. Nick's over here chuckling because he's thinking of asshole comments that he's not saying.
It's true.
Yeah, again, I almost just... All right. So thanks, everybody, for listening to our brief yet opinionated view on American Horror Story.
We know you really
and
don't
Chronicles
care,
of
but
Darkness.
thank you for humoring Chris.
Thank you for that. I do appreciate people humoring me. I need it. My ego's just fucking dying. All right. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. What?